Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 10 Easter eggs in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. While it does an excellent job at maintaining an original premise, Shredder's Revenge comes loaded with all kinds of references to the TMNT shows, movies, and of course, video games. Which of these Easter eggs did you manage to spot first? Were there any we missed? Let us know down in the comments.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Game Boys everywhere! We'll start off with an obvious one. Shredder's Revenge was very clearly made by a team that adored the Game Boy, judging by various animations. Not only does Donatello play a Game Boy for his taunt animation, but you will frequently catch foot soldiers playing their own Game Boys before noticing you. While many of us reminisce over the home console TMNT games, we often forget that the Heroes and Half Shells saw many excellent titles across the history of the Game Boy consoles. So this was a lovely way to pay subtle respect to the likes of Radical Rescue.
Just a minute.
Arcade Love. As many other outlets have probably pointed out to you, each of the 7 playable characters have moves that reference several fighting games. Raphael's uppercut is remarkably similar to Soul Bad Guy's Volcanic Viper in the Guilty Gear games. Mikey uses E. Honda's Flying Headbutt from Street Fighter. And speaking of Street Fighter, April O'Neil has certainly picked up some moves from the Badass Babes of Capcom's Fighter series. Some of her moves are similar to Chun-Li and Karen's moves, while her walking animation is very much like Cammy's.
Any comments?
What was that about seafood? Throughout your journey to stop Shredder, you'll come across a few pickups to aid you in your fight, particularly pizza for health and increased attack power. One other pickup is a box of sushi, which does, well, other than give you 10 measly points, it really doesn't do anything, but for good reason. When picked up, you will hear the turtles say,
Fish, gone.
Those who have seen the 1987 animated series will recall the first episode where April shows disgust towards pizza, preferring sushi over the delectable pie. We may all fight over who the best turtle is, but we have to agree, April has no clue what masterful cuisine she's missing out on.
How can you eat that junk?
How can you eat raw fish? Ugh.
Back in time. Of course, many TMNT fans probably played this game and wondered about any references to Turtles in Time that might pop up. Well, one obvious reference is the ability to throw enemies at the screen, a charming touch that made the 1991 classic much more memorable. One other subtle nod occurs upon starting the second stage, Big Apple 3 PM, which is the opposite of when Turtles in Time begins with Big Apple 3 AM. Another obvious reference can be found in the level King of the Spill when you're fighting the Rat King. Buried in his garbage is a foot ski, the same vehicle the Rat King used in Turtles in Time.
This isn't befitting a king. Ugh.
Famous last words. Each of the turtles boast unique touches in their animations and dialogue, some of which refer to the movies and TV shows. The one that might be the most obvious to TMNT fans is Mikey's respawn line. Upon dropping back in after death, Mikey will say,
All right, I love being a turtle.
The party dude makes this same exclamation in the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie after avoiding an attack from a foot soldier. Only difference here is that Mikey didn't get knocked out like some punk frog beforehand.
God, I love being a turtle!
Shredder wants you. Turtles in Time wasn't the only TMNT game to receive some love in Shredder's Revenge. You might have spotted a couple of nods to the first TMNT game on the NES, and this one stuck out like a sore thumb. A rather lovely and nostalgic sore thumb, I might add. In the mission called A Few Screws Loose, you'll come across a set of TVs with one showing Shredder pointing at the screen. This is a reference to the NES game's opening, where Shredder puts out a broadcast and calls out the Turtles. Best frenemies.
Look, I don't want to fight you.
Well, tough rocks, pal.
While this isn't something you can find in the game, it's still worth mentioning because the achievements for Shredder's Revenge are fun and they do reference TMNT stuff as well. One of these is the trophy Finally Getting Along, which requires you to use Casey Jones to heal Raphael. If you know your Turtles lore, you're very well aware of how Casey and Raph have often fought each other. Raph is an edgelord good guy, while Casey is an edgelord good guy with bad intentions. Their differences have caused them to frequently butt heads, and this achievement really wants you to put the bad blood to rest.
Home run! Raphael wins! 1-0!
No docs in Shredder's world.
I will get my revenge!
Now, this achievement is a little more specific and it will be much more difficult to pull off. Well, if you're playing on the harder difficulties, of course. The achievement, Who Needs a Doc, sounds ridiculous, but it's very much a callback to one of the TMNT movies. Secret of the Ooze ends in a pretty absurd way, with Super Shredder being defeated by a collapsing doc. This achievement requires you to give Shredder a proper butt kicking by defeating him without getting hit one single time. Show everyone you don't need some whack Deus Ex Machina to save Manhattan.
What? It can't be! Nobody could have survived that. No.
The Thing About Tempestra.
Behold the might of Tempestra.
Tempestra's appearance was a real treat, as she is most frequently forgotten about when it comes to TMNT villains. Thankfully, the devs behind Shredder's Revenge Tribute Games didn't leave her behind. But that's not the only obscure Turtles reference here. During your fight with Tempestra, she'll summon digital constructs of two other lesser-known TMNT brutes, Taka and Razor. Tribute Games really packed in just about every single character from the franchise, and we couldn't be happier.
Oh, no, you don't!
Hurry, guys! This is serious! Wake up!
We've come full circle.
They're heroes in the half shell, and they're greening. Hey, get a grip!
This last one hit a little closer to home for those of us who grew up watching the 1987 animated series. If you remember the theme song, you'll recall that each of the turtles have a unique pose when they're introduced. For one of his super attacks, Mikey swings his nunchucks around like he does in the song. As for Raph and Leo, they make the same poses upon finishing a level as when the singer introduces them in the show's opening. These references mixed with everything else we've covered in the video shows that Tribute Games harnessed all of their own turtle power to create the very best TMNT game ever made.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Heroes in a half shell! Turtle power!
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.